everybody, a classic from ZZ Top. I gotta thank Rick Villa, 8435. He challenged me to figure this out, and you know, the early Billy Gibbons is just phenomenal. And in researching this, Tim Pierce did a nice video on young Billy Gibbons and how much you can learn from him. So, great song off of Rio Grande Mud. Of course, I wrote it out, so my notes would be below here. You'll have all the tab. There are overdubbed guitars on this. So we're going to kind of look at this as played by one guitar, but I've written out the parts for both guitars, and we'll discuss that too. I'm pretty sure he's playing Pearly Gates in this. So I got out this is a 58 plain top reissue Les Paul that I've had this guitar for many years now, and it's just my best sounding, to me, Les Paul. So I got out my Pearly Gates. It does sound like he's using Pearly Gates with the nice crisp PAF tone. So I'm in the middle position. The neck turned down to about 8 and the bridge all the way up. We get a nice little tone out of that. So the intro starts out with a nice little pentatonic lick, and there's a little key to it, which is a pre-bend when we get to the 3rd string. Alright, so we start out on the 1st string at 12, and then we go 15 to 12 on the 2nd string. Then the 3rd string, like I said, we do a pre-bend at 14 and strike it and release, and then hit 12 to 14 on the 4th string and slide down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, then we move down and hit an A power chord. I think he's going to do a nice little blues lick where we hit the 5th string, 3rd fret, hammer into 4, and then catch the 3rd string at the 2nd fret. Alright, so this will happen twice. Second time, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, that leads us into the 2nd measure of the intro. So next we got a nice little blues lick here. What we're going to do is do some hybrid picking. We're going to pick the 3rd string and pluck with a finger of your choice the 1st string. And I'll just speak, I'll speak to the 3rd string unless it changes. So it'll be 2 sliding to 4 with both the 1st and 3rd. Back to 2. Then we're going to hit the open 1st and 3rd and hammer into the 3rd string 1st fret. And then hit an open 1st string after that. So we have this. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's little variation on where you're kind of picking back and forth, but you can do it the same way. Again, there's lots of variations with that, but a nice little blues lick. So after we do that, we're going to do this. 3 to 4 and then hit an A. 3 to 4 on the 5th string. He'll hold that for a count, and then you'll hear him hit the 5th string open to the 2nd fret of the 3rd string twice with some vibrato the 2nd time. Then we do the lick again. Then we're going to do this. Instead of a pause, he goes right to 5 on, open 5th string to the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and then back to the open 5th string, and then the 2 hits on the 3rd string 2nd fret. So he's just adding a little fill to it. Alright, so that is the intro. Like I said, my notes will definitely help. And then we are into the verse. So the verse, we're going to move up to an E here. is we're hammering into an E power chord. So we hit the 7th fret of the 5th and 4th string, hammer into the 4th string at 9, then a little deadened note, and then we play with the 11th fret of the 4th string. So we go from 9 to 11. And then a little deadened note, and 2 more E's, and then that 11. So we have this. Then we're going to sort of repeat that pattern. We'll start it out the same with the hammer on, hitting 11, and then 2. This is an A power chord, 4th root. But we don't come back to 11. He just pauses it there. I'm sorry. Then he goes into this walk down. So what we're doing is an A open 5th string, and then to the 4th string at the 5th fret, and the 3rd string at the 7th fret. That's really a G chord. Then he's going to go and take that 4th string and go to the 4th fret while keeping that 3rd string the same. And then we go up to this nice little, kind of finishing. Alright, so what we're doing is coming to the 4th string, we're going to hit the 2nd fret to open. Then we go to the 6th string, 3rd fret, pull that down and land back on that 4th string at 2. Alright, that whole measure repeats. So let's repeat it. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, after that we do this little lick. And then he plays 3 to 4 with an A. And then our little notes. Alright, so that verse, really, that rhythm is consistent. So we've done verse 1, we go into verse 2. Same thing we've learned, and then we're into the first chorus. So chorus 1, I've written out for this, let's say the second guitar, it's played more of a rock rhythm, that kind of stuff. I'm going to show you this, and this is what I wrote in the main guitar, because this is what Billy did live. All right, it was pretty obvious because you could see just at this point where he was and what he was doing. So that's in the live video. So again, I'll play it and then I'll show you. Alright, then we go into a bridge. So what we're doing there for this, like 2 hits on the open 6th string, then we go to the 4th fret of the 4th string. Come back to the 6th string open, and then we go 2 on the 4th string to 4 on the 5th string, back to 2 on the 4th. So we have this so far. We hit an A power chord, then he's just going to hit an A open 5th string note and let that ring. And under that you'll hear him do this. Alright, so he's playing like an A, rock and roll rhythm, but he starts out on the 4th fret, 4th string, 2nd fret, 3rd string, back to both those strings at 2, 4, and then 2. Alright, so up to that point. chord, and he's going to hit that once with a little vibrato, then hit again, and then add our 6th fret of the 4th string. And then 2 more of the B, and then 1 of the 6th. So we have this. Then back to that first lick. Then we do our little walk down. That is the chorus. Really tasty, a nice variation on this rhythm. I mean, I've never seen it before. We'll go into the bridge next, which takes us into, it's basically the same as a solo rhythm. So now we come to the bridge. The bridge, like I said, is the same, or I might have said, I don't know. The bridge is the same as a solo rhythm. Only difference is a solo starts after doing this bridge twice through. The solo rhythm will do this 10 times before it goes into another lick. So what we have is this. Alright, that was the bridge. I just did it 2 times. And then, like I said, that whole rhythm will repeat 10 times. So 1 time through is basically an E power chord, and then the 6th string 3 to 4, and then just the lower half of the chord, just the 4th and 5th and 4th string. Then we go to an A and do the exact same thing. We'll hit 3 to 4 this time on the 5th string, and then we will come into the 4th and 3rd string. And it's a mellow kind of a feel. The actual rhythm, or I should say the rhythm, the actual solo is real funky, and he's given himself that kind of feel for it. So that is the bridge. Like I said, same rhythm will repeat 10 times. Let's finish out the solo rhythm before we go over the solo and the outro and so forth. So after that 10th time, what we're going to do is this. Alright, so the end of the solo is just doing this lick twice. So we know that lick, we do that twice, and then we come into verse 3. So we know that verse, but during verse 3 there is a second guitar that comes in over that is so prominent and such a cool lick. I've written it out, but again, I want to go over it right now because it's such a cool lick. So this verse 3 lick is so tasty, and with the rhythm underneath, it sounds wonderful. And it's basically our 2 notes on the 3rd and 1st string with hybrid picking. So we're picking the 3rd string and plucking with whatever finger you choose the 1st string. All right, so it's going to start out slid from the 4th fret of the 3rd string up to 6, and then catch. We'll just drag our first finger along on that 1st fret. We're going to hit the 5th. So it's more of, think of a chord, major chord. You know, we're going to be sliding from G to A and just using the 3rd and 1st string. So we're going to slide up, catch the 1st string, back to the 3rd. And then we go back and catch both strings together. So the 3rd and 1st string at the 4th fret and 3rd fret respectively, sliding up a full step and back. So we have this, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, obviously he does it much smoother, and when you're playing with the song and the rhythm, it's such a cool lick. So that is the lick he does during verse 3 after the solo, and the rhythm continues. And then we'll go through it again. Then we're into chorus 2. Chorus 2 is just like we've learned. Then we're into the outro. The outro is basically our... Alright, so a little bit different licks there in the way he ends it, but man, it's tasty. Again. So after chorus 2, that outro, we'll start with our lick just like we've learned it to even that end. So it'll start out that way. The second time through, instead of just hitting the open A to the 3rd string 2nd fret twice, he's going to do a slide from 3 to 4 and then catch the 3rd string at the 2nd fret. So that 3 to 4 slide will be on the 5th string. Alright, now the last one that ends this is obviously very different. He goes into a final lick. So what we're going to do is start out the same. Alright, at that point we're going to come into our 3 to 4 with our A power chord. And then you'll hear him slide about from the 7th fret to the 9th fret of the 5th string, catching, again we're going to do hybrid picking here, catching the 9th fret of the 3rd string. And then he's going to pluck both the 5th string and the 3rd string, but the 3rd string will move from 9 to 7. So it'll be picking the 5th string, 9th fret, plucking the 7th fret of the 3rd string. Really wonderful ending, you know? Something to put in the bag of tricks. Alright, that is the main rhythm guitar. So the alternate chorus rhythm, it's more of a rock and roll rhythm, you know, but he's moving back and forth between partial chords or dyads, 2 parts of the chord, 2 notes, and a root note. Alright, so we're going to do this. Okay, so what we're doing here, we're going to start out on the 5th and 4th string, 2nd fret, E, and we'll be moving back between that and 4th fret, but we'll hit the open 6th string between. Then 4, open 6, and then 2, 2 before we go to 4 and open. So we have this, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we move to A. We're going to hit the 2nd fret of the 4th and 3rd string before we hit the open 5th. Now this is a 2-4-2. It's not a 2nd fret twice to 4. It's a 2nd fret to 4 back to 2nd fret. So it's a little bit different on the A. You really got to Pay attention to this rhythm. And that matches what he does with the... Alright, and then going to the B. Alright, so we have this up to or through the A. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we hit our B power chord, root note, 2nd fret, 5th string. We'll add 6, root note, 4, and 6, and 4. And out of root note. And again. Back to our E. A. And then we're going to hit the A root note and go into the walk down. I think when I went through the whole rhythm, I played an extra A note there at the end, and actually my tab's wrong, so I'm going to fix that. But yeah, that's what he's doing, the root note and then that walk down. Okay, so let's take this solo bar by bar because it's funky and you really got to pay attention to the lesson or the rhythm and what he's doing. So let's start out like this, first measure. Okay, so we got some hybrid picking, we got some real nice licks, and the timing, like I said, he's not necessarily following the timing, he's just really going with a feel here. So we're going to start out 10th position, we're going to hit the first string at 10, and then the second string at 10 with a slow bend up. And then we'll stop it as we get towards the top of the bend and grab 12 on the first string. It's a real nice blues type intro. It grabs your attention. Okay, now I got your attention. I'm going to hit the second string, 7th fret with a slight bend, and then the third string at 9. All right, at that point, he does a nice little, basically we're referencing the D chord at this point. We're going to be on the 4th and 3rd string at 7, but we're hammering into the 4th string only at 9. He'll do it twice, and then the second time, or not second time, but the second set, he'll do that 4 times. First 2 are kind of just hammered in, but the last 2 are real quick. So it's like this. Alright, and then he's going to quickly take that 4th string from 7, slid to 5, then grab the 3rd string at 7, slid to 9. Alright, then we move up to the 12th position. Now what we're doing is hybrid picking the 2 12s on the 3rd and 1st string, hammering into 14 on the 3rd string while the 1st string rings. And then he grabs 14 on both the 3rd and 2nd string with a slight bend and vibrato. Alright, so real technique there, really, classic Billy Gibbons. Alright, so now we're into the next measure. It'll sound like this. Alright, I'm going to stop right there, kind of went into the next measure. But what he's doing, to start out with 12th position where we blended off, alright, he's going to grab the 2nd string at 12 to the 3rd string at 12 and 14. Back to 12 on the 2nd string. Then he comes to that, there's a slight pause there. And then he'll grab 12 on the third string with a slow bend, and then hit 14 on the fourth string with some vibrato and slid off. All right, so we have, I'm sorry, to 12 and slid off to 7. So let me do this slow because it's harder to talk with these notes and stuff, but it'll sound like this. So that 12 is a very quick pulled from the fourth string just right to 7, and then grab 7 on the third string. So up to that point, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now what he's going to do is move to this first position. He's going to do a nice little slide down from the second fret of the third string to 4. And he's going to catch the third string and then slide 4 back to 2 and then off, kind of leaving that ring. Landing on the second fret of the fourth string. Then to end out this measure, he will slide in from the third string from 5 to 6. All right, we're back to A. All right, and then he's going to hit the 5th fret of the second string back to the 6th fret of the third string back to the 5th fret of the second. And then you'll hear this. I can't do it. He's going with the rhythm, and doing this slow is just impossible because I don't have it in my head. But he's basically hammering it. He's hitting the third and second string at 5 and hammering into 6 with a little chuck between. Again, it's one of those things, you listen to it, you'll get it. And then the last time, we're going to hammer in from 5 to 6. So anyhow, those hammer ins, if you're counting them, there are 5 of them. And the 6th one will do this. So it's a hammer in, but we're going to hit the 5th fret of the second string back to 6 on the third. Then we're going to take 8 on the second string, slide up to 10. And I use my middle finger because that gets me in this second pentatonic position. All right, so we're sliding up to the 10th fret from 8th. And then we go back to that 9th fret on the third string, 8 and 9 again. So it's a real, again, classic blues movement. And at that point, again, we're into the next measure. I've just gone into it. We're going to do our 2 to 4 first position, sliding into and catching 3 on the second fret. Pull off and hit 2 on the 4th string. Then he jumps up. Then he jumps up to this 12th position. And he's going to hit the first and second string at 12 to 14 on the third and second string with a bend. And he'll do that bend 4 times. And then he goes to 12 with a slow bend and then ends up on 14 on the 4th string. So we have this. This 4th measure of the solo has us going back and forth. It'll start out like this. So what he's doing, starts out the first string 12th position to 15 on the second string, and then we're going to hit 12 on the second string with a slow bend. Then we're going to grab the 12th fret of the 3rd string with a bend and then end up on 14 on the 4th string with some vibrato. Then he moves up to the 1st position, 2 to 4, catching 3 on the 2nd string, sliding back 4 to 2 and catching 3 again on the 2nd string. Then we do 2 to open on the 3rd string, landing on 4 string at 2. Alright, back to the 12th position. We'll be on the 3rd and 2nd string with a bend, and then we're going to go to 14 with a bend and vibrato. Then we're going to do our unison bend on the 3rd and 1st string at 12, hammering into 14 on the 3rd. And then you'll hear 12 on the 3rd string to 14. Then you'll hear like 4 muted notes, and then 14 to 12 on the 3rd string. That ends the 4th measure. For this 5th measure of the solo, again, we're going to be going back and forth between the 12th position, and then we'll end up at, the 1st position. Okay, so for this 5th measure of the solo, we're going to start out the 1st position with those nice little licks and slides, end up at the 12th position, and it ends the solo, although there's still, but it's obvious that this was overdubbed because it's such a drastic change at this point. If you slow it down and listen to it, you'll hear he's up here at 12 and all of a sudden back here, you know. And then you'll hear it's just such an obvious transition, but you know, it's cool. All right, so to start out with, so we're going to start out sliding on the 3rd string 2 to 4, catching 3 with a little vibrato on the 2nd string. Then you'll hear 2 muted notes before 3 and 4 on the 2nd and 4th string. 2nd and 3rd string together. Then just the 3rd string. Then we do 2nd fret bend, release, and pull off to open. And then we'll catch, after that open 3rd string, just take the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, slide to 5. Alright, so to that point, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, now we'll do another 2 to 4 on the 3rd string, catching 3 on the 2nd string. And then we move to the 2nd position, go 2 to open, no pull-offs, no bends, and land on 2 on the 4th string. So that's kind of our end of our 1st position. And then we end up with our hybrid picking on the 12th fret, 3rd and then 1st string. We'll hammer into the 3rd string 14 twice, and then hit both notes with the 12th fret. Then we move to the 4th string, 12 to 14. And then you'll hear the notes come in to finish it off. Alright, so that is a solo. I've written it all out. It's all available, and hopefully anything to help you with these songs. Hope this helps everybody. Enjoy.